Okay, we are recording this meeting. So, yeah, I think it's time to start. First, I will speak in Chinese and welcome everybody. 感谢大家来参加今天的Chia in China 的 AMA 啊，今天是周四，所以可能人不是太多，但是今天这个 AMA 呢，我们邀请的是这个 CircuitDAO 他们是在起亚里面做这个稳定币算法稳定币的这么一个道组织。然后今天非常高兴邀请他们来介绍一下他们的这个算法稳定币的一些情况，包括他们现在的这个做法以及未来的一些规划。Okay, welcome everyone, and we are very honored to invite CircuitDAO to our AMA, and we will talk about their team and their roadmap and what they are doing. Okay. So, Hector, could you please introduce yourself and your team?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for having us. It's great to be on today. So we as CircuitDAO, we're basically building a stablecoin protocol, DeFi stablecoin protocol, on-chain collateralized. So in a way, it's quite similar to MakerDAO on Ethereum. So we want to give people the ability to get hold of a USD-pegged stablecoin on Chia, and we want to do it in a sort of permissionless and trust minimized way. So it's a non-custodial solution essentially, and by over-collateralizing with Chia, you can ensure that the peg is maintained. And yeah, I think we as a team, it's the two of us right now, Seb and myself. Seb looks familiar, I guess, to many in the community. He was previously on the Chia team. And myself, I've been involved with Chia for some time now as well. I was early on farming on mainnet. I've known the team since back in 2018, I think. So I've been, closely following what Chia is building. I'm a big fan of how they set this up, of the consensus mechanism. Using hard drive space, I think is a fantastic innovation. And the way it's played out is great, right? I mean, it is the most decentralized blockchain already, has overtaken Bitcoin and fixes really a lot of the shortcomings that some of the older, blockchains out there sort of, have encountered over the years. And I think Chia has done a great job of learning the right lessons and really building sort of a solid foundation that teams can come in now and build on top of.
Yeah, that's great. I can't agree more about your recognizing of Chia blockchain. Yeah. So how about Seb? You wanna introduce yourself? Or
yeah. So my name is Sebastian Trapka. I used to lead the wallet and Chia team at Chia Network. And before that, I was mainly in consumer startups, sort of about 5 startups I've done in the past. Some products, with hundreds of millions of users, and I'm mainly, tech guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
Great. It's very important to know that you have been working in Chia networks. That means you know their technology deeply, I guess. I bet, actually. So.
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, I've worked with Bram directly and things like that, so I've definitely got a bit more insights. Yeah.
Okay. So today we will focus on CircuitDAO, and we will ask you some questions, and after that we will open to our online audience, and maybe they have some questions for you. Okay, so first question is, what is CircuitDAO?
Yeah, so at a high level, what we are is a stablecoin protocol. So I think, as I briefly said in the beginning, the idea is really to fill this gap that we have on Chia currently, right? There is no stablecoin. We had USDS stably. They got caught up in this Prime Trust bankruptcy, unfortunately. And I think that just exposed one of the weaknesses of that system, right? So even though Prime Trust was a regulated entity, there still seem to have happened, there still seem to have been, a few things happening that shouldn't have happened. And so I think one of the solutions that has stood the test of time in crypto really is what MakerDAO have built originally, was an on-chain collateralized stablecoin. So we have kind of looked at that, and basically we think it's a solution that can work on Chia as well conceptually. So there's some differences. I think it's not sort of a one-to-one copy, but I think we have sort of identified the key things we need to do to make something like that happen on Chia, especially since we're working on the basis of the concept UTXO model here. So it's going to look quite different in terms of the implementation, but I think conceptually you can think of it as this sort of MakerDAO type stablecoin, on-chain collateralized, and in our case with sort of the XCH token as the collateral asset.
So you think you are very similar to MakerDAO, right? Not like the DAI, right?
Correct. At least sort of the initial single collateral version, right? So MakerDAO has now become sort of a bigger sort of protocol with real world assets, and it sort of evolved over the years, I would say. So I think when you look at what we're building, it's more similar to what the first iteration looked like, where there was only Ethereum as the collateral asset.
We talked about some advantages of Chia blockchain, but I still want to make it clear, why did you guys want to build on Chia?
Yeah, I think I think fundamentally, right, you want to build on sort of blockchains that solve use cases for people, and I think one of the big themes obviously in crypto has been this permissionlessness, decentralization, and I think that's where long-term blockchains have managed to retain users. I think there's been a lot of noise with sort of other concepts and more centralized setups and high throughput chains, but I think fundamentally what Chia are doing has got the right spirit and ethos behind it, and I think long term that's what's going to prevail. And the big advantage, I guess, is of having something that's really decentralized, is that you have a proper store of value asset, right? There is no native store of value asset if your chain isn't decentralized, right? That's really what it all hinges on. So in our view, XCH is one of these store of value assets, and as such, it should in the long term actually turn out to be a great collateral asset as well, just like we have seen with Bitcoin. And a lot of the institutional discussions around Bitcoin are actually about using Bitcoin as a collateral asset. And I think the same is possible for Chia in the long run as well. I mean, obviously the institutional adoption isn't there yet. We're at the very beginning of this journey. But I guess a DeFi protocol like CircuitDAO is sort of the first step, where you can basically use the native token in that way, fully on chain.
So I think you have do some research already on the Chia ecosystem about the stable coin and DeFi. So could you give us some your conclusions about the stablecoin landscape, and why did you decide to build CircuitDAO?
Yeah, so I mean, Look, there's different ways how you can approach the stable coins, right? So one is obviously the way we are doing it now, with collateral being locked up on chain, and the other sort of fundamentally the other way is doing what Stably did with USDS, and that's in fact very similar to what USDC is doing as well, and USDT. So really having off-chain collateral and making sure that's held in custody somewhere in a sort of safe and regulated manner, right? And that hasn't quite happened yet on Chia. I think big players like Circle or Tether, they haven't issued anything on Chia yet. So I think we see ourselves as taking that first step, and by having this first stable coin, hopefully that will get a lot of activity in the DeFi space going, right? So if you look at how Ethereum evolved, MakerDAO in a way was the OG DeFi protocol, and having that stablecoin available on Ethereum, having DAI available there back in the day, facilitated a lot of the innovation that came afterwards in terms of AMMs, DEXs, lending protocols, and I think we're sort of hoping that CircuitDAO will be a catalyst for that as well on Chia.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we know that there are different ways to build the stable coin, like we know already the Stably, USDC, but they have some problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's much harder, right? Because you have this off-chain collateral, you end up being, having to be regulated. It's operationally a bit more hassle because you have to deal with both on-chain and off-chain processes. So yeah, I think Stably did a good job. I think it was a bit difficult maybe in the beginning for them, but I think they were getting there, and I do hope they're going to come back and can recover from this Prime Trust failure. And hopefully the Ethereum bridge, which I think is going to be released by the end of the year or in Q1, that will also hopefully help bringing over stablecoins, maybe from Ethereum, maybe a bridge to USDC or USDT. So again, I think very positive developments here for Chia.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely need we hope they come back too, and we hope we could have that Ethereum bridge as soon as possible too. We really Chia ecosystem need the ramp to outside and inside, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's get in deeper. So how does CircuitDAO works, and could you introduce a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So at the sort of fundamentally what you need, right, to make sure for this stablecoin to be able to maintain its peg, you want to make sure there's always more collateral backing the stablecoin than the outstanding value of sort of the stablecoin debt, right? So the stablecoin gets issued by the protocol as users deposit collateral and borrow against that. So fundamentally, it's a system that introduces some leverage, and so it's really quite important that you make sure that there's always enough collateral available to fully back the outstanding byte cash or BIC in as we call it. So and you achieve that by having basically a liquidation ratio or a loan to value ratio. So it's quite similar to a traditional loan, a mortgage or something like that, right? Where you put up some collateral and you borrow against that. And then to make sure that in cases where the collateral value declines, right, you need to make sure that loans get repaid so that the system doesn't end up being under collateralized. And the main mechanism that ensures that is liquidations, which basically means that if the liquidation threshold is no longer met, so the collateral value drops below the threshold, then the collateral will effectively be seized by the protocol and auctioned off. And that means anyone can come in and repay the borrower's debt. So basically return byte cash to the protocol. and get bid for the collateral in return. So it's a competitive auction. You know, multiple bidders can come in, and whoever offers the best price in the end wins. And you know, any excess collateral goes back to the borrower. But fundamentally, that ensures that outstanding loans that are not getting repaid can be closed off or sort of foreclosed, if you like, by the protocol.
Yeah, we know that the idea is simple. It's a kind of you know how do you say that? Collateral the XCH and then borrow from the against that that thing, right? But the most important is how to make it secure and how to adjust the fluctuate of the XCH price, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really this you know, this loan to value ratio. You need to choose that appropriately, right? So if you let the loans get too large compared to the collateral, then of course your risk gets bigger. So I think we're planning with a ratio of around 66%, so 2/3 loan to value, which means you're over collateralized by 50% of the value of the loan. And you know, the way we've designed it, we believe the way these liquidation auctions work, they should finish within literally a few minutes, so 15 to maybe 30 minutes, to finish the liquidation process, if it comes to that. So the question really is, you know, how much buffer do you need to bridge a price movement over the period of, let's say, half an hour or an hour to be on the safe side, right? So the question is, you know, how much can the XCH price drop within let's say an hour, right? And we think, you know, 50% buffer historically is plenty. So, you know, it's not a risk-free protocol, and it doesn't mean there could, in some extreme case, be an event where the price drops faster, but you have to draw a line somewhere. And historically, you know, with 50% over collateralization, you would have done, you would have done well. The protocol would have worked.
So you mean it's about 2/3, right?
Loan to value. Yes.
For example, if I deposit another deposit, I can call it a depositing or collateral 600, then I can borrow 400, right? Something like that.
Right.
So, but how do you control the threat? You have a program to automatically calculate it, or you have to watch out by yourself?
Yeah, so the liquidations are actually done by external parties, right? So and these parties are typically called keepers in DeFi protocols. So individuals or entities that typically run bots, you know, little computer programs that would monitor the blockchain, monitor the Chia price. So there's going to be an oracle that we're building, which will feed in the Chia dollar price onto the Chia blockchain, and that will sort of be your, you know, that will determine the value of the collateral and when a liquidation can be triggered. And then once that happens, anyone can trigger the liquidation, and the protocol would then basically verify based on the oracle price that the keeper is allowed to trigger, right? So that this assumption actually holds. But then anyone is free to participate in that, right? Anyone can become a keeper, so anyone can watch out for the protocol and make sure it remains healthy, right, in a healthy state.
So you don't have your own pool. I mean, you don't control the deposit, or just depend on the end users.
Correct. So the collateral vaults, or so sort of these deposit coins, if you like, that's non-custodial, it's permissionless, right? Anyone can create one for themselves. And then on the keeper side, we will be running sort of a keeper bot, But we encourage others to come in as well, right? We're just going to be one of many, and ideally, I think longer term, I think there'll be entities that will be better at this than we are, right? Professional market making firms, hopefully one day. So the same kind of players that provide sort of market making services and do arbitrage on blockchains like Ethereum. I think there is a few of them, and hopefully these will eventually show up on Chia as well. So I think the more of these players we can get in and start trading on Chia, the better. So I actually think there's this recent development that Chia has been lending some coins to a market maker to provide liquidity on centralized exchanges. I think that's actually a very positive development, because it's these kind of entities that have also that expertise to provide liquidity on chain eventually.
So what's the name of your stable coin? Beak, right? Beak.
Yeah, yeah. So Bytecash or BYC.
Bytecash, BYC. It sounds like the NFT.
Yeah, we thought that as well, but we figured we can get away with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a monkey NFT.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my first image of that when I saw it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And so if somebody or any person or entity, they want to be build that DAO or the pool together, what's the benefit for them? They deposit the XCH and they earn the interest.
Yeah. So there's two sides of the equation, right? So the protocol will charge interest to borrowers, right? So if you take out a loan, just like in TradFi, right? If you're a borrower, you end up paying some interest, but vice versa, this interest that the protocol earns, we will sort of use that to give some of that back to Bytecash holders. So there's going to be a savings vault, if you like. So you can just buy Bytecash in the open market and deposit that Bytecash into the savings contract or savings coin, and then part of that interest that borrowers pay to the protocol will get passed through to savings depositors, right? So that's sort of I think a great use case for people to come in and keep an eye on that, what interest rates are. Sorry, what? Yeah, was there another question? You said.
I think just for many farmers, they got XCH every day, but they don't know what to do with that XCH, except just sell in the exchanges to earn some cost, to cover the cost. Yeah. But if there is something they can deposit the XCH and earn some interest in, I think that will be very attractive.
Yeah, it's sort of a way, right? It's a way to hold on to your XCH, right? And at the same time, be able to to get some stable coin to, I don't know, potentially pay your electricity bills with that, right? I mean, obviously you're building up leverage. Again, it's sort of a risky activity, right? But it's an option that you don't have so far, and yeah, I think we'll see if people are going to make use of it. But looking at how MakerDAO has been used over the years, I think there'll be similar use cases on Chia as well, right? So I think it's simply another option for people to do something with their XCH other than just holding on to it, like you said, right?
So BYC is a cat, right? Cat 2.
Yes, I believe so. Right, Seb? It's a standard cat, right? For all intents and purposes.
Yeah, just a standard cat.
Yeah.
do you think the CAT standard will upgrade in the future, Seb?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, but there are definitely lots of reviews of it so far. So probably unlikely, but yeah, let's see.
I mean, it won't be something like we upgrade from Cat 1 to Cat 2, and there's some mess happened before. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, hard to be certain, but yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, anything can happen in crypto, as we know. But yeah, I think so far it's been built on very sound foundations. So yeah, I'm fairly confident in Cat 2s.
Mm-hmm. So you have confidence about the. I mean, it's safe, it's secure to use CAT as a stable coin in Chia blockchain, right?
I mean, yeah, that's the standard we have. That's meant to be for tokens used like the ERC20 equivalent. So I think the more we use it, the safer it gets, because it's more and more proven to be safe. And maybe we find something and we'll patch that, and then on we go. But I think the more we all use Cat2, yeah, the safer it's going to get.
Mm-hmm. So about the liquidations, do you have any methods or any plan to how to increase the liquidation or stimulate the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the main things we want to do, obviously, is kind of try to help Bytecash adoption, right? And be able to so that people are able to use Bytecash across the ecosystem, and that there's on-ramps and off-ramps available. So I think the kind of things that are still a bit missing from Chia, I think a stablecoin could really help to facilitate. So we've got some ideas around that. We've had some preliminary discussions. So hopefully we can get Bytecash listed in various places, not just obviously on the AMMs and DeFi protocols that we already have, but also kind of on this interface, right, to the off-chain world. I think the big challenge for everyone in Chia to make that happen and really yeah, make this just more seamless, right, for people to come in and off-ramp again.
Mm-hmm. So so you will use the DAO to be the governance of the system, right? And you will issue CRT token, as I read in your blog. What's that used for?
Yeah, so the CRT token, the governance token, has it's got two functions, if you like, right? So I guess one function obviously is voting, right? So participating in protocol governance. There's a whole bunch of parameters that can be used to let's say fine-tune the behavior of the protocol, right? So one is, for example, the stability fee or interest rate, effectively, that's being charged on loans. That may have to vary over time, right? So we have already seen in previous crypto cycles that the demand for stablecoin in a crypto ecosystem varies over time, right? It's not constant. There isn't sort of a constant interest rate that will ensure that the peg stays where it is, right? So if there's high demand for stablecoins, there's a risk that the stablecoin will depeg to the upside, right? It will trade at more than $1. And that that the protocol would need to counteract somehow, right? And one way of doing that is to basically increase the stability fee, right? This interest rate that's being charged, so it becomes a bit less attractive to hold the stable coin, and it will incentivize borrowers to actually repay their loans, and that will sort of bring demand down a bit. So these kind of mechanisms are done via voting, and that's why the governance token is there. So these kind of processes can happen. The other thing is that the protocol will be doing is that it will be buying up governance tokens, right? So from the interest rates, from the stability fees that are being charged to borrowers, some part goes to the savers, like we discussed a few minutes ago, and there'll be a leftover that basically accrues to the protocol. So the protocol, in a way, has a little treasury sitting in a smart coin, and that treasury will over time be used. It's be used for certain expenditures within the protocol to incentivize keepers and so on. But whatever is left over, any surplus that's not needed anymore by the protocol will actually be used to buy up the governance token. So the protocol itself will create demand for the governance token, and any governance tokens purchased by the protocol will then be melted and basically removed from circulation. So that's basically how the CRT token fits into the picture.
The CRT token, do you have the amount, how much you want to issue, and how to get the CRT token for normal people?
Yeah, so the issuance is going to be most likely we'll have a one-off issuance at the beginning, 1 million tokens total. So there's going to be a supply cap, and there's only going to be two or three exceptions to how the supply might change over time. So there is, one is obviously this token burning, which I just mentioned. So the supply might go down through this process as the protocol sort of incurs or accumulates revenue. And the other one is actually the inverse can happen as well. So under specific circumstances, the protocol might create new tokens, but that will only happen in very limited circumstances when there is bad debt. So bad debt is basically something that can happen if a liquidation auction doesn't manage to liquidate collateral quickly enough. So this is this example, right? If the market price drops more than 50% before the auction, this liquidation auction is finished, then you might end up having some bad debt that nobody is willing to pay back anymore. And in that case, the protocol might actually, well, first of all, it will go to its treasury and see if it's got enough surplus to cover the bad debt, which in most cases will be the case, we expect. But if that's not the case, then as sort of a last resort backstop, the protocol would be able to mint some new governance tokens, auction these off, and use the proceeds to basically cover this bad debt. So yeah, but by and large, it's going to be 1 million fixed supply, and then plus minus these two exceptional cases.
So do you have a launch plan when, or can we expect that?
Yeah, so we are planning to release testnet this quarter. So we've been working a lot on this, trying to get this all finalized and getting something deployed for people to try and get feedback and so on. And then mainnet is planned for Q1 next year. So yeah, trying to ship this as soon as possible, really.
Okay. So as a stablecoin DAO, I think it's very important to have the consensus of the community, or even from CNI. I think so. How do you think about how do you get the support and everybody can join together to do that stablecoin?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good point. So what we'll be doing is an airdrop. So that gives people an opportunity to have some governance tokens from the start, right? You don't need to buy them on Dexy or anything. So we're trying to get this into the hands of many people from the start, and then hopefully there's going to be active participation from the entire community. Yeah, and I think you know, Chia Network are keeping an eye on it as well. I think we had Gene join our Discord server the other day, which is great to see. So yeah, I think, you know, hopefully we can establish this protocol as sort of a core piece of the Chia ecosystem. And yeah, we as I said, we want people to engage with us, join us on our Discord server, and I think once we've got testnet released, and by all means give it a try. We want to hear what people think, how they want to use it. Yeah, just makes this happen.
Yeah, I hope so. And yeah, we know it's very important for Chia ecosystem to have a stable coin, but we also worry about that if everybody can have that consensus to build one stable coin together. So do you have any connection with the DEX or a AMM like Tabet or Dexy or Hashgreen? Have you
Yeah,
ever
sure. I
talked?
mean, we are obviously speaking to all the projects in the ecosystem. I think you'll see pools with Bytecash, you know, Chia Bytecash pools on the AMMs. I think as offer files as well. So you know, you'll see it on Dexy. Yeah, we're really hoping that it, you know, fills sort of a gap that we have in the market right now. Everything needs to trade against XCH, but I think once there's a stable coin, hopefully that will bring in some, you know, for slightly more risk-averse traders that don't want to have that much XCH exposure. I think holding a stable coin is in many cases a better option.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the next question is, who do you think the users of the protocol and big will be, and how will be used in a Chia ecosystem? We can use it for buying something.
Yeah, I think, you know, ultimately that's, you know, stable coins are for payments, right? I think that's been the biggest use case. Obviously, I think to be able to use it for payments, there needs to be something on the other side of it, right? So I think this integration with fiat rails is super important, and that's not going to happen overnight, but we'll be working on that, right? Yeah, so I mentioned DeFi. I think for people playing around in DeFi, it's a great option. And then I think as a protocol, this option for farmers to use the XCH to borrow Bytecash against it, I think that might be a use case which is going to be popular. And yeah, it could also be for traders. You know, you can use it either way, right? You can use the protocol to get leverage by depositing XCH, borrowing Bytecash, you know, selling Bytecash for more XCH. So you can lever your XCH exposure up, but it also gives you a way to, you know, take your XCH and maybe, you know, cash out some of that and hold a more stable asset if you want to, right? So it works both ways. Yeah, and I think that's the sort of main use cases that we're seeing right now and that we want to work on.
Okay. About yeah, it's very important that you can exchange with the fiat coins. I know it's not overnight, but do you have any idea or experience before or research on that? It's not easy, I think.
Yeah. So look, I think one of the things we will definitely be looking at is sort of classical on-ramps, right? Can we partner up with somebody who's got the right regulatory status that we can integrate with somehow, that there's an on-off ramp, you know, hopefully Stably is coming back. They effectively had something like that. And then there's also some good ideas. I think Seb had a good idea here. regarding.
Yeah, so we can talk about the
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, share with us.
You mean the ZK proofs?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, there's some options where it's possible to do peer-to-peer payments so peer-to-peer as in fiat to crypto and crypto to fiat, where proofs can be done by receipts, like either email receipts or some other receipts that can be proved that I don't know, that a payment provider has signed them. And it's something we've been sort of exploring, and that's something that could be potentially the most scalable and hopefully used worldwide. And yeah, but I think we're sort of exploring various ways. I think basically I think we're fans of P2P in general, so I'll explore that. Yeah, I think we also talked to a few people that are offering some platforms that we could plug into. Yeah, that's roughly it.
Okay. So we talked about the payment. Do you have any talk with Bram about the channel, the how do you say that? The Lightning networks, something like that.
State channels.
Yeah, state channels. So that will works on that, right? I mean,
yeah,
big in the future.
Yeah, sure, that would work. I mean, he's still working on it, so on this, I think he's working on it now. And let's see how that evolves. But we could definitely, so we can definitely use any kind of L2s with BIC, or BIC can be used on L2. And yeah, definitely on state channels. So that should be fun to explore.
Okay, so do you have any right now you are running on the testnet, right? Still.
Not yet. So we're planning to be on testnet in the next few weeks, next couple of months.
So you needed somebody to get involved into your the testing or running for the protocol, right?
Yeah, I think we do want to. Yeah, at some point, I think we'll be looking to grow the team, but also, yeah, definitely get feedback from the community, right? People trying it out once we're on testnet,
and also reviewing the code and Chia Lisp and all that would be great. That sort of, we're already reaching out to a few Chia Lisp engineers that are happy to help.
Yeah, when you launched, let us know, and I think some people in our community would be happy to do the test.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. Absolutely. If you've got people in mind, please, yeah, send them our way. Happy to have a chat with them.
Okay. So yeah, I think that's all in today for today's AMA. But if you have anything you want to introduce more, just go ahead. Yeah, I want to ask your background. Do you have that financial background before?
Yeah, so I used to be a trader, commodities trader, for several years. Actually, academically, I'm sort of a cryptographer. I've got a PhD in number theory, which is actually what I think got me into Bitcoin pretty early on. So I've been in the crypto space for quite some time now. Professionally, it's been coming up to 8 years. I previously launched a crypto fund here in the UK, a regulated fund, and yeah, build DeFi protocols and a bunch of other things. So it's really been pretty much full on crypto for me for 7-8 years now. Yeah, and Seb, I think best speaks for himself.
Seb.
Yeah, I've been in crypto maybe similar time, and helped a friend who built an exchange, crypto exchange, and followed them. But otherwise, I was more in sort of consumer startups fashion, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, one more question. Maybe it's not easy, but I think it's very, very important. That is, how do you guarantee to survival during your developing? As we know that several startup teams already stopped in Chia ecosystem. It's sad, but it happens. How do you think about your how to survive? Yeah.
I mean, sure. I mean, look, I think you're right. I mean, for the time being, we're self-funded. I mean, luckily we don't have a lot of expenditure here. We are literally developing software at this point in time. So there isn't really much in terms of costs that we have. So that makes it relatively straightforward. And then, touch wood, I think next year, hopefully things are going to look a bit brighter again. I think the worst of the bear market might be behind us now. So yeah, I think I don't think financially we're going to run into any issues. Yeah, I think obviously we want VCs to I think Chia is not super high on anyone's agenda right now, but hopefully that's going to change as well. And touch wood that things are going to take off next year.
Yeah, I think Chia. Yeah, the situation now is it's very hard for ecosystem builders.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's been a long journey, right? And I think Chia has done a lot of work on the foundational level, right? I mean, don't underestimate the kind of amount of effort it takes to build something like that from scratch. So I think we've got great foundations in place now. Yeah, and let's really hope that this all pays off. I think we just need to be a bit more vocal, maybe as a community, and get other crypto people to be more aware of what Chia is doing, right? And it's Chia is for crypto, for cypherpunks, and for store of value type people. It's not just for enterprises and so on. And I think if we can help to get that message out there, I think I don't see a reason why Chia wouldn't be a success in the long term.
Yeah, it's a long journey, but I personally have I very confidence about Chia and CNI. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, we wouldn't be building on it, right, if we weren't bullish on it and confident in the technology in the long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know some VC also focus on Chia blockchain especially in London. I forgot the name, Venture or something.
Right, K32.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yes. Well, so I'm gonna tell you a little secret now. That's actually me doing that as well. So.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but look, I think there is some VCs out there that we know are definitely keeping an eye on this. Yeah, I think when the time is right, we'll see VCs putting money into this as well. So it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think there are several business should be interesting for VC, like the wallet and the names, and also like exchanges. So yeah, just take time, and we will see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all for today, I think. Yeah, we only have 5 people here. Normally we have a 30 or 40, but today is it's
Right.
very restricted. Okay.
Right. Well, we can always do another one, maybe closer to testnet or mainnet launch, if you like.
Yeah.
And then maybe on a weekend if that's generally better.
Yeah, I heard that Ethereum bridge will launch soon, and Hashgreen, the new AMM, will also launch soon. So yeah, we have a lot of to talk.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. I think that's all. Thank you, guys, to come here, and we will keep in touch, and hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us again.
Thank you, Hepto, and
likewise.
thank you, Seb. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.